Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Series Disney Plus Wave 3 Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure. Here from the Disney Plus series Moon Knight, we have Mr. Knight Steven Grant. Here, side artwork of Mr. Knight, looking very cool. Looking way better than the figure. There on the back of the package, another look at Mr. Knight. The bio reads, an expert on ancient Egypt, Steven Grant, I want to say Grant because of the accent, but Steven Grant is thrust into action as Khonshu's avatar, Mr. Knight, relying on his keen mind to enact his master's will. Yeah, that seems kind of a funky bio because Steven Grant was like, what is going on? I don't know all this and that. And it wasn't until like towards the end of the season where he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I could do this. So it's kind of weird. So here we have all the figures in the wave to build the Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure, which is undersized. We're taking a look at Mr. Knight now. I looked at Moon Knight already. I will be going in order to get to the Build-A-Figure there. But yeah, this one is going to be quite disappointing because of the suited body, which sucks, and the arms, which are tiny and weird, and I feel like they use the smaller suited body's arms on the bigger suited body's legs, but I don't know that for sure. I have to open it up and kind of take a look. The batons look nice. We have our first Build-A-Figure piece, which is cool. He has interchangeable hands. Not bad, but the figure definitely is going to be disappointing, but let's take a look. Okay, so here we have the Mr. Knight figure out of the package. This figure actually confuses me, and I didn't... Maybe I wasn't paying attention before, I didn't realize. He actually has new legs. These are not the same legs as his suited body. So I pulled out my young Nick Fury figure, which was the slightly bigger suited body, which I now realize I think uses the same arms. I don't know if I ever really realized that or if I just don't remember correctly. But they are not the same legs. They are the same arms, though, which are the problem. They're really undersized, and it just doesn't seem to really work well. The shoulders are very ugly on this because the jacket overlay, I don't know if it's because the overlay is thicker or what the problem is, but there's too much gap and stuff for the shoulders, where none of that seemed to really be an issue with like the suited body. I don't think any of the suited bodies actually really had so much that issue. Maybe the older one a little bit, but the newer, slightly bigger one, like the younger Nick Fury, doesn't really seem to be an issue, you know, there. But this guy, it definitely is. It's really distracting from it and what could have been a better figure. But even still, like the new legs, they're not that great. It's awesome that they're pinless, but I don't think it was necessary. It's kind of weird, I feel, that they would have sculpted new legs for him, but then just, you know, didn't do the arms. Like, why not do the arms? Because I think the arms were the bigger problem. But anyway, let's get in for a closer look at Mr. Knight. Oh, and he does come with the right arm to the Infinity Ultron, and this thing's looking pretty sweet. I can't wait to build him. I know he's undersized, which really, really sucks, and it's kind of crap, but I think it's still going to look really good, so I'm excited for that. We'll throw that off to the side. So let's get in for a closer look. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at the two batons. These are the exact same. There's supposed to be hieroglyphics on there, but you really can't make them out, and I wonder if it was really, if the effort was really put in for real hieroglyphics, or if it's during the molding process that ends up looking bad and you can't actually make any of it out. It's cool that there's some of that detail in there, and it is like on two sides, which is cool, but you know, again, you can't really see it. It's done in this nice silverish plastic with a little bit of gold paint on the ends, and again, they are both the same, so they work. They're not too pliable either, so there's some warping that can happen, obviously, but it's not like super soft or anything like the old school batons were. And then he has a pair of fists. These fists actually come with the figure in the package here, but then I swapped them out for the C-grip for the batons, and then these ones actually have the vertical hinge, which is be a correct weapon wielding like hinge. So horizontal on the fists, vertical on the grip hands. But here is Mr. Knight. Head sculpt looks pretty good. We get a nice blue in there to show the glow effect of the eyes, and it's done with the digital print, and I like the way that looks. The stitching seems to have kind of a print over the stitch to kind of bring out, you know, the color of the stitch, I guess, to make it more noticeable, because it's all white, so it would really blend in, but it looks pretty good. You know, you get the facial structure in there, no complaints. It is a different neck compared to most suited bodies, which I guess depending on which suited body. So if you have the old school suited body, that neck piece was a separate piece that goes into the neck along with the tie, because we get like a special tie here. So they switched out the neck, of course, which makes sense. But look at the arms; they're the same damn thing. But because it's MCU and it gets more of the budget, you actually get those buttons painted silver on the sleeve. So that is pretty cool, but the shoulders still really suck. Now, people say that these shoulders are on backwards. I can't tell the difference whether this shoulder was over here or this shoulder was over here. The wrinkles and stuff, I mean, I don't think it makes that big of a difference, to be honest with you. I don't know if, I mean, there's not like that much like wrinkles areas over here to go on the front to, I think, give it that big difference of look. I don't know. I think bigger problem is that the shoulders and arms are just so small. Like they're just tiny. So it's really weird. The jacket and vest overlay though looks pretty good. There's some nice molded detail and texture in the vest. The buttons are all painted silver. And then the collar of the jacket, you can see, sculpted nicely. The tie, it doesn't tie specific to Moon Knight. Nothing on the back of the figure at all. And then looking at the legs, here, look, pinless legs. So these are brand new legs. These are not the young, oh, there goes that Flurkin flying around. They are not the same legs at all. So they didn't even, like, maybe use the same leg and then just modify it to have pinless. They are all new. So none of the wrinkles match or anything like that. So that's actually not too shabby. Yeah, because, I mean, the other suited ones, the pants were all, like, super wrinkly. This guy, not too wrinkly at all. And I don't know how I got a little pink spot on mine, but, you know, that's bound to happen with white figures. But, yeah, it looks pretty good. And then he's got these big-ass feet. The shoe, they look like sandals and stuff, but they're not. I know it's supposed to have the wrap. I'd have to go back and look to see what the shoes really look like in the series. I don't think they looked exactly like this. They were more dress type, but with a mummy style wrap to it. But these ones just don't. These ones just look like sandals to me. But they're large, so he can stand. They're sturdy enough. But the issue is going to be in with the ankle and stuff. You don't get a whole lot of hinge, but he can stand well enough. It's kind of leaning forward, and it's hard to hinge the feet. So. Yeah, it's just frustrating. Let's see his articulation, which is... let's check it out. Okay, so Moon Knight articulation. The head is on a disc hinge, so he can look down that much. He can look up all the way, which is pretty good. You get full rotation in that neck. I feel like it does sit a little too high on there, and the neck is a little too long. I wish it was a little bit lower on there. The arm you can get to go out and up slightly, like so. Full rotation in there. Upper bicep swivel, double jointed pinless, pinned elbows, that much bend, which is okay. Little pins on the outside, super large pins on the inside. I hate these arms a lot. I wish the suited body would go away. Wrist swivel, and again, the open C-grip hands have the vertical hinge, whereas the fists have the standard horizontal hinge. There's an ab crunch on this guy, but you get absolutely no use out of the ab crunch because of the jacket overlay. What I would have loved to have seen, oh, look, that tie is kind of coming up. What I would have loved to see is just the vest. So if the jacket was off, you have the half sleeve with just the vest on. That would have been pretty awesome of a figure. I would have loved that look. But I think, you know, standard, you know, Mr. Knight is the full suit, you know. So, I mean, I get it, I guess. You got the waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart. That's actually pretty good. He can kick forward that far. Not bad. Doesn't really go back. Got the upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pinless knee. That much bend there. Just okay. But it doesn't look terrible, at least. No calf swivel or anything like that. But you do get an ankle swivel in there. So there's that ball joint there, but again, hinging. Oh, look at that! You just got to add a little bit more force. So you can hinge the foot down quite a bit. The foot just kind of goes over the pant leg, not too bad. So that much hinge going down, and then hinge going up is slightly because it hits the pant leg. You do get ankle pivot and peg holes at the bottom of the feet, but still kind of tough. He wants to lean forward. You got to like really work those ankles to get him to stand up straight. But the feet again are so large, he's nice and sturdy and won't really fall unless you knock him over. But I'm glad that they got bigger feet so he can stand easily. He's definitely the most sturdy out of any of the suited body feet. I'd have to take a look at the Happy Hogan one again to see how sturdy that one is, but yeah, he's definitely not going to be falling down in your display. Okay, so side-by-side comparison. There is a noticeable size difference between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight. This is the same guy. It's not the same personality or identity. Excuse me. I think that's more correct. Not the same identity, right? We have Mark Spector and we have Stephen Grant. Both Oscar Isaac, of course. But a little bit of size difference, and that kind of sucks when it comes to that stuff. So, like the suited body, they should have made the figure a little bit bigger. Well, like the arms should be bigger, the legs should be a little bit bigger also, if you're going to try to match the size. Now, you could say, well, this is the ceremonial armor, so it's going to be a little bit bulkier, which could cause a little bit of additional height. Sure, that's okay. But you know, when it comes to the suited stuff, it's a letdown. And I think my biggest problem is going to be the arms. So I know I'm complaining. You know, but you want better when it comes to MCU. And I know a lot of people don't like MCU figures, but that's kind of my jam, right? That's my thing. They put so much additional budget into MCU figures because it usually requires a lot of new sculpting. Now, yes, technically they could get away with these arms because that's literally what they did. But, you know, in terms of a better action figure, new arms would have been better because there's just too much gap for the shoulders, because this overlay, I think, just a little too bulky, a little too big. But one way they could have gotten away with that is if they would have done the half sleeve look and just the vest. But again, you know, the classic Mr. Knight, you know, how he first appeared in the show is with the jacket, so I get it. It makes sense. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this Mr. Knight figure? What did you think of the Moon Knight show? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys are interested in joining the MCU collective, hit the join button to become a channel member. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.